You have a
All right,
the time,
it is time. I think I started the recording.
so we got two
It talked to me.
hours. Well, how are all y'all doing today? Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. As some of you may know, I'm Dominic. I work with Colton here in the market center. And so we're the preferred lender in here. We're right over there by the kitchen, but thank you guys for coming and we really appreciate it. Hey, Tommy, same with you guys folks on Zoom. Thank you guys. This is Elijah, my good friend, also a very talented financial advisor. And so he's going to be talking just briefly today about really investing on y'all's side of the spectrum, as well as what you're doing on the client basis for introducing them to financial advisors and CPAs, will attorneys, things like that. Just making sure that we're all protecting our clients to the best we can. So without further ado, Elijah, I'll let you take the stage and appreciate you, brother.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Thanks for inviting me. Like you said, my name is Elijah Valtiera. I'm with the Valtiera Investment Group. Collectively, my dad and I, we work together. It's a family business. Collectively, we manage $250 million. We have 50+ years of experience together in the industry, and we specialize in tax efficient investing for the high net worth. And so we are accepting new clients. We're looking for folks that have $1 million in investable assets. That's kind of our sweet spot. And today I'm going to be talking about a few things. So first off, investing in yourselves. So you as agents, the wisdom of great investors, lakes versus rivers, and are also going to be talking about our center of influence. I think Dom maybe uses a different word, the cycle of cash flow. I believe it's
Circle of cash.
circle of cash flow.
Basically, just y'all, just so you know, it's very important, as a lot of you guys already know, to create a circle of vendors that you really trust. So having a financial advisor in that mix is great as well. That's all Elijah's for.
Yes. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was investing in yourselves. And so typically our clients are millionaires, but a lot of them didn't start off that way, didn't have a job that you'd expect would be a millionaire's job. Really, our clients are the millionaires next door, the ones that you would never expect. And they've never made 100K a year ever in their careers. Does anyone know how they retired a millionaire?
Saving. That's it.
A lot of that. And really what it was is consistently investing in themselves and then consistently investing in their 401ks or their IRAs. So I think Dom was telling me that you guys are on 1099s. Do you guys have a 401k through Keller Williams, or is it individualized? What kind of retirement plans do you guys have?
I don't know what the teams are doing, but for independent agents, it's going to be individual.
Individualized, okay.
Do you guys have retirement accounts set up through Keller Williams? No, so you do that outside of your own, an IRA?
Gotcha. So there's a lot of different IRAs out there. I'm not an expert in picking those. That would be a CPA question. So I definitely suggest talking to a CPA, figuring out which IRA works best for you. There's different limits to how much you can contribute in each one of those, depending on the type. Definitely recommend doing that. And so how those folks became retired millionaires was really forced savings. I personally have to do that. I'm a financial advisor and I still have to use forced savings. If that money hits our checking account, me and my wife, that money is going to get spent. Most likely going to some sort of restaurant. Her, it might be Dillard's or something, but if it hits the checking account, that money's gone for us. And so setting up your percentages of investing in an IRA is very important when planning for your success in the future. Trust me, if you just set it 10%, 20%, whatever it might be, whatever is good for you guys, you'll forget about it, you won't miss it, and you're essentially just putting that money aside for you later. So a lot of people feel like it's, well, I want my money now because I can use it, but really it's going to benefit you longer if it's invested and it stays in there. And so with those retirement accounts in those IRAs, when you retire, that's going to be the last money that you spend. So what we're going to suggest is you're going to spend your taxable accounts first. So if you have another savings account, we'd suggest taking money from there first before touching your IRA, because the benefit of an IRA is that money is tax deferred. And so when you get your paycheck, you know, the government takes a hair, Social Security gets some, your insurance gets some. And so that money not being touched by any of those hands, being able to save each paycheck is going to be huge going forward. And so with that, also with retirement being out in the future, we have the ideology of that should be the most aggressive account that you have. If you have other investment accounts, is your IRA. Because again, that's going to be the last money that you spend. And so if the market's going up and down, we don't really care. Honestly, it's better if the market's down and we're getting paychecks, we're investing money, which means everything else is on sale. When Google goes down 20%, that means I get to buy it at a 20% discount. Is Google going to go away? Probably not. Is Apple going to go away? Probably not anytime soon. And so you're essentially getting those shares of those positions at a discount. And so when the market does recover, your growth is exponential from that. Does that kind of make sense? So,
And if you guys have any questions too, feel free to just jump right in. One thing that would be helpful too, Elijah, can we reach out to you if we need CPA help for the IRA stuff?
yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of CPAs in our back pocket that we'd recommend. And as you're talking with clients as well, if they need help with, maybe they're moving from out of state, they're going to maybe change advisors for finance, CPAs, attorneys. If they're moving from out of state, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more, but they need to have a will in that state. That's a huge issue. If your will is maybe up to code in Oklahoma, but then you move to Texas and you pass away here, that will may not cover everything that it needs to cover.
I didn't know.
And so it's a huge thing when moving, especially.
Are you guys talking to your clients when they're selling about will or estate or anything like that, or tax burdens on capital gains? Is that anything you guys are bringing up?
I've seen somebody try to buy, put an offer through a trust, like they're
Oh,
buying
really?
it through a trust.
Okay, so did you have to contact the trust attorney or anything?
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you call their trust attorney?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So in a situation like that, Elijah, what would be like a good, how could you be a resource to them if they had a situation like that? Hey, I got a client who's trying to buy with a trust. Is there anything that you guys can do to assist
They
there?
sent me over like 250 pages.
So like at that point, could they call you and connect with like Carol Boutros or something like that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be an expert in that, but a lot of the times people have trusts, and most of the time they're not savvy enough to purchase the home through the trust. They'll just buy it and then fund it later. And what happens most of the time is people forget to fund their trust. And funding a trust is essentially putting your accounts into the trust. So instead of having an account in your name at the bank, it'll be under the trust name for the benefit of you. Same goes with property. So with property, you can also put your vacation home, your primary residence into a trust so that essentially when you pass away, it goes to the spouse or your loved ones. And it avoids probate in those states. It goes directly to them. And it's an added layer of protection as well. Yeah, good question.
Thank you for touching on that.
Mhm. So
Wait, real quick question, just out of show of hands, I'm curious, do you guys all have retirement accounts set up? I don't have an IRA set up outside of work, I probably should, but. You guys
I don't have anything set
Yeah, I
up
don't either.
outside of teacher job, education job.
gotcha.
And so this money can't go into that because it's not, to the estate.
Right. Right. And so working with us, we're able to open those accounts. If you go to Fidelity as well, you can go online, open an account right from there. They make it really easy nowadays. You also can get on the phone, talk with Fidelity. They're very helpful in walking you through the steps of setting that up. And then, like I was talking about earlier, kind of that forced savings. When you're setting up those accounts, you can have it to where every paycheck that you get, 10% comes off and goes straight to your retirement account. And so it's automatic. You don't see it. You know that that money is growing and it's going somewhere, and it's not just, you know, in my case, going to the checking and being spent at Pluckers of the year. But when investing, we're more than happy, me and my dad are more than happy to, you know, if you guys want to set a time with us, we can talk with you guys of what should be inside of those accounts. When creating an IRA by yourself, you have a lot of benefits because you have a lot more options of what you can invest in. A typical 401k, the company is gonna choose for you, and they'll probably give you 12 options. And so it's very limiting to what you can invest in. They're good funds, they're pretty generalized, but there's better options out there. And so if you guys want to reach out to us, we're happy to meet with you one-on-one and pick out those positions, and come to us whenever you want to make a different change, a different allocation. We know investing is different for every person. It's all depending on your risk level and your comfort level. We would highly suggest that in the IRAs, those are the ones that own the companies, being the stock positions, because that's who makes the most money in the world, is the owners of the companies. And so getting a piece of each company is a great way for you to share in that growth. Any questions on the importance of an IRA?
What are the different types of IRAs, the main ones? Is it just Roth and?
So there's a few different ones. There's a SEP IRA, which I think is the most simple type of IRA for someone who has their own business or are paid on 1099. And so that's the one I would think that the CPA would suggest for y'all. Again, they're going to be the experts in that. And then there's the 401k, and there's a few others that I don't think really apply to y'all. But there are a bunch of different ones out there, and it's really up to your CPA on which one's the most efficient for you. And to get a CPA, we can just text you or email you and you can introduce us. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Mhm. So moving into the wisdom of great investors, that's the sheet that I had passed out. I'm sorry for those online. I don't have an electronic version of it. But I can email that out.
You can put your email on the screen, right? And then they can email you for it.
Sure.
Hey, folks on Zoom, we'll put his contact information on the screen, and if you need to get the sheet, you can reach out to him directly.
I think under contact us, it should have. And I apologize, I mentioned it to a few people, but our website is under construction right now. So some of the things are in the wrong places, pictures are too big, so we're figuring that out.
Working on it.
Also, if you want to visit us in person, we are right next to Stonebriar Country Club on Legacy and 121. Great location that looks over the 10th hole. Unfortunately, we don't get to play it too often, but it's a great view. So the wisdom of great investors, this is essentially our team's motto. These are the things that we use to guide our investing strategies. And so number one, keeping your emotions in check. You have to plan the work and work the plan. A good plan is essential in any sort of movement or money strategies. And so I say that because Charlie Munger, Vice President of Berkshire Hathaway, says a lot of people with high IQs are terrible investors because they have terrible temperaments. A lot of people get scared. The news does a great job of scaring everybody. That's almost like their number one job, is to terrify people. And so you just hear, oh, the world, the sky is falling, the market's down, the bonds are down, stocks are down. What are we going to do? People see those things, they freak out, they try to sell. It's not the time to sell when the market's going down. Everyone kind of has heard you sell high and buy low. Well, that is not the case if you're letting emotions run your decision making. And I know it's hard to do. It's not, you can't just turn off your emotions when your account goes down 10%, 20%. You're gonna feel it. That money is not lost. It's fluctuated. Has Apple lost 20% of their revenue? Odds are they didn't. And so you really just have to ride the storm. I know that's the worst thing that to hear is just want to do something. I want to get out so it doesn't go down any further. But really riding the storm is the best bet. And the highs, they're gonna feel great too. When the market's up 30% over the last 20 years, the market has been up a lot. We've seen a tremendous amount of growth. And so you see those big gains and your emotions are gonna be high, you're gonna be happy. But just keep in mind, you have to keep those emotions in check. Another one, don't blindly trust forecasts. So Warren Buffett, the father of investing, really, I make no attempt to forecast the market. My efforts are devoted to finding undervalued securities. And so he doesn't care what happens on the day-to-day. Most forecasters are really wrong. So only about 10% of the actively managed funds have beaten the S&P 500 over the last 20 years. 10%, which means 90% of them were wrong. And these are people that are super smart, Stanford, Harvard, they get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this for a living, and they're wrong 90% of the time. And so, again, it just emphasizes the point of trust your plan and let the plan work for you. Another thing, so number 3, don't try and time the market. And so it sounds really logical when the market's going down. It's like, oh, I'll sell out, keep this cash on the side. And then when it comes up, I'll just reinvest and that way I get the earnings back. Yes, that sounds really good, but that's not really wise. So the thing is, nobody knows what's going to happen in the market. During COVID, the world shut down, the market went down 30%. I guarantee nobody could have predicted that the market was going to finish 20% up that year. Insane. And the people that are scared of losing, if they were to sell out, I guarantee at that bottom, they were not thinking about putting their money back in the market at that point. They did not have the confidence to do that. So over the last 20 years, if you invested $10,000 in the S&P 500, which is 500 of the largest US companies, if you missed 30 of the best days, that $10,000 would have grown to $10,904.
If you miss.
If you missed 30 of the best days. And so if you're trying to time the market, you're pulling your money out, you're putting it back in, you don't know when that's going to happen. The market goes down quickly and it recovers quickly. And the ability to press that buy and sell button, I mean, it's a gamble at that point if you're trying to do that. If you stayed invested in the market, you rode the highs, you rode the lows, that $10,000 would have grown to $61,683. That's a huge difference. That's a almost $51,000 difference between, that money that you invested, missing the best 30 days or staying invested. So it's important to stay invested in the market. Every dollar, we believe, has a job, whether that's in a CD, a bond, a stock, every dollar should have a job. It loses to inflation sitting in your savings account. Inflation right now, obviously, is a huge topic. Record high inflation numbers right now, but on average, inflation is around 2-3%. If you're sitting in a savings account, you're not getting 2 or 3%. So each year, you're kind of losing the dollar value with it just sitting there.
If it's not growing at the same rate as inflation.
Correct. Which, recently interest rates were obviously all-time lows. They were almost nothing. And so CDs, those kind of investments, they weren't paying you very much at all. And so now, obviously, that's flipped a lot. So number 4, be patient and think long-term. So what do I mean by that? You're going to hear all sorts of things on the news. Everyone's going to have a different headline. Everyone's going to have a scandal, a story, something that comes out that everyone thinks is going to move the market. Earnings come out, that moves the market. Elon Musk can tweet something and his stock will go up 10%. He'll tweet something else, it goes down 5%. Shouldn't do that. But the news moves the market day to day. So all the little ups and downs that you see is really just the news, the media, people getting scared and, going on their gut feelings. The real thing is, are the companies making money? Over the years, if the companies are making money, those positions are going to grow. So number 5, a market correction is an opportunity. So I like to use real estate as a good example for this. If the real estate market went down 20%, am I gonna freak out because my house is worth 20% less and try to sell it quickly? No, probably not. And especially if you're a real estate investor, you have multiple rental properties. If the market's down 20%, I'm gonna think, oh, everything's on sale. I should buy a house next to my other one. Or I should look and see what opportunities there are out there to buy another home. Which sounds like common sense, but a lot of people don't think about that with the stock market, which is also why I'll always have a job, is because people don't think that way. But you make the most of your money in a bear market, you just don't realize it at the time. And so, like I said before, when the market's down and you're constantly adding money to it, you're just getting everything at a cheaper cost. The markets fluctuate, but if the companies are making money, that's going to continually grow. It's going to move up and to the right. Number 6, markets fluctuate, so stay the course. So, like I said before, the news is going to have all sorts of stories. There's going to be real crises. There's going to be real events that happen that are going to move the needle. People always say, well, this has never happened before. Well, the tech bubble never happened before. The 2008 financial crisis had never happened before. 9/11, COVID. There's always going to be something that has never happened before that's going to move the market tremendously. But we kind of can expect these events to happen. We know that there's going to be those types of events that move the market. So a market correction by definition is a movement of 10%. And so that happens about once every year. Your stocks will go down about 10% once every year at some point. A bear market, the definition is moving down 20%, which will happen every 4 years. A crash, 30% or more, is every 7 years. And so knowing this, it's not a huge surprise when the market does go down. It's going to happen. And so just making sure that you're able to ride that storm, know that your money is invested and that you're continually putting money into yourself. Just knowing that will keep you afloat and will keep you growing. Like before, if you invested that $10,000, that's the difference between, $900,000 and $600,000 or $60,000. Any questions on the wisdom of great investors? What do you think the biggest mistake is that you see on there? Emotional decisions? I know I'm guilty of that. I would say the emotional decisions, definitely. And it's difficult. You see that account go down, it hurts. It's painful. All of our accounts are down as well. So I get it. But it's just being able to reassure yourself that, okay, the market's on sale. What opportunities do I have? Where can I take money? So having a plan. So we like to have a good mix between stocks and bonds. Stocks being pieces of the companies, bonds being loans from companies. Bonds are typically more stable, have a more expected return, and are a lot of times used for maintaining cash. And so if the market's down and you're 60-40 split between stocks and bonds, that 60% is going to be down, but your bonds historically are staying pretty consistent. So if you happen to need money, that's where you'd want to pull your money from, is from those bonds, so that you have the stocks have a chance, an opportunity to continue to recover. Good question.
What would you say is the best thing that you guys can do for our clients? Like if we have someone who's looking to buy or sell, what would be possible services that y'all could assist them with?
Sure. So kind of skipping into the center of influence. This is where we're gonna be able to give the most value. And what we call our center of influence, our COIs. For us, that is folks that revolve around buying indicators for us. And so in our industry, that can be with CPAs, M&A lawyers, state attorneys, real estate agents, investment bankers, those sort of folks. And so that's where we can provide the most value. And so when people are getting married, when people are getting divorced, those are huge financial changes in people's lives. And they're going to need a team around them, whether that's a financial advisor, a CPA. That's where we can add a lot of value. In where we like to help a lot is especially with divorcees. You know, usually there's one person in the family that handles all the money. The other person had never looked at it. And then that divorce happens, they're going through the most difficult, season of their life. And they're deer in headlights. They have no clue how to run their money. They don't even know what bills to pay most of the time. It's a really, really hard time in someone's life where we can immediately give a lot of value and help them. And you guys see that, I'm sure, all the time. People split, people getting married, they're moving out, they're moving in together. That's a huge space where we can add value, and you guys can continue to add value to your customers by really connecting them with the people in your community. So the rivers and the lakes. So you can kind of think of a lake. Think of these as both cash flows. So the lake being a savings account with $2 million in it. That's a great retirement. And then you also have rivers, which is a cash flow in itself. So ideally, we want to have folks thinking in rivers. So where can I cash flow? So rental homes are a terrific river. Investment accounts is another type of river. You want to have these rivers flowing when you're retired. So a side business is a great way to do it as well. Things that help with side businesses, even let's say you guys retire, you're no longer showing homes, you're no longer meeting with clients, but you keep your license and you give referrals. That's a great source of income. That's another river. And then you're working out of your home. You have a home office. Talk to your CPA about this, but you're able to write off, that portion of your home, that portion of your internet, portion of your cell phone. And if you're moving and you have a home business or a side business and it has an LLC or some sort of entity, you can write off part of that move. Those are all things that people don't think about when moving, that there's huge tax advantages. And a CPA is the one that would be able to help you actually figure out which one of those is fine and doable.
Sign me up for less tax than any today.
Right. So really, the last thing that I just wanted to talk about was the center of influence. So creating a team around you, we're more than happy to be part of that team. But surround yourself with CPAs, mortgage lenders, other financial advisors, people that are going to produce buying opportunities for you guys. What are some of the things that you guys look for when looking for a prospect? What's a buying signal?
I like folks who are well qualified.
That's a good one. Like if you had 5 hours to prospect a week, let's say, you could spend each hour with 5 different people, or you could spend those 5 hours with one CPA or one financial advisor. And that advisor is going to have multiple clients that they'll be able to pull from. Whenever life happens, you want your name to be top of mind whenever someone's thinking, well, we're thinking about selling our vacation home. Oh, we're thinking about moving here. We're thinking about downsizing. When I hear those things, I'm going to think of somebody, and You have to just figure out a way of how can I be that somebody for someone else? And so that is the number one place where we get referrals is through our center of influence. It's much more lucrative. It's much more time effective by investing in individuals or one company than prospecting and trying to meet the next client, the next client, the next client. It's just a no-brainer when it comes to that. And just give value and respect and expect nothing in return. We are big proponents of you reap what you sow. And so whether you get paid or not, just being able to give value to your customer, they're going to notice that. They're going to know that it came from you. They're still going to think of you when they're moving or they're buying a new property. It's just like your kids, for example. They see more than you think. You may not have told them that, you may not have done it, but they see what's happening and they see which parent is helping, which parent, you know, the parents that are looking after them and doing what's best for them. But yeah, just to kind of leave with that, we're more than happy to help you guys create that network. If you need CPAs, if you need estate lawyers, M&A lawyers, we're more than happy to give introductions and help your clients and really provide value wherever we can.
Man, thank you so much. So I'll just add something, guys, on the back half of that. That was great, Elijah. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people really miss the boat, I guess is a good way of phrasing it, on creating the relationships with financial advisors, CPAs, will attorneys. Obviously, I invited Elijah, so you guys know that I know him, but what you guys don't know is we obviously do work together as well. Well, maybe not so obviously. And we've created the circle of cash flow amongst ourselves, and it's been great. And you guys are all capable of doing that as well. So, you know, if I ever have clients who are asking about tax questions or asking about, you know, where do I invest all this money after I sold? Do you know who I call? Is I call Elijah. And it's been, you know, great on the other side of the token as well. When they have clients who are in their financial review and they say, I'm going to buy a house this year. Well, who does he call? He calls me and we can help them get a mortgage. So I would really highly advise, if I were you guys, networking with individuals like Elijah and, you know, working on building those relationships so you can create a mutual referral network. It is really helpful. But man, without further ado, I guess just contact him if you have any questions. And we really appreciate you guys coming today. We're so grateful for you. And we'll hang around here. We got nowhere to go. So if you guys have questions, come on up and ask any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions online?
Great job, brother. Oh yeah, any questions on Zoom? James, you good? Perfect. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I'll email you, Elijah.
All righty, sounds good.